1v1s are probably the most polarizing game mode in all of Rocket League. On one hand, you have people that absolutely love 1v1s. They play them all the time and they use it as a way to hone in on their mechanical skills. But then, you have people like me, people who despise 1v1s. Not only do we find them annoying and frustrating, we just don't see that this game mode adds a lot of value to the skills that you use in other game modes like 2v2s and 3v3s. Well, that was what I thought initially at least. And then I looked at my Rocket League tracker. I know this only shows the data over the past year, but if you can't tell, I am still the exact same rank I was a year ago. And, rather than doing something logical like playing more games, getting on Rocket League more, I decided to switch up the strategy entirely. I decided that I was going to go live every day until I played 100 straight games of 1v1s. Nothing else, no doubles, no standard, no extra modes. Just 1v1s until I played 100 games straight. And I think the reason that I did this instead of playing more 2v2s and 3v3s is that a lot of the times we were playing and we got scored on, it felt like it was my fault. And with a game mode like 1v1s, there's no one to blame except yourself. You're the only person on your team, and you have to make the right plays in order to win the game rather than relying on teammates. And on top of that, I decided to live stream the whole thing. Surely nothing could go wrong. Also, if you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and let's get to the games. So I'm not gonna lie, going into day one, I was extremely nervous. I had played 1v1s on a lot of my other streams, and they went terribly. Like, I am just not good at this game mode. I make careless mistakes, and I'm just getting constantly clowned on for my skill. But to my surprise, I ended up winning the first game 8-1. And on top of that, in my first 5 games, I had 4 wins and 1 loss. I felt like I was genuinely playing well, positioning myself well, playing good shadow defense, and I actually ended up going 7-3 in placements, which put me in Diamond 2 Division 2. But then after this, I decided to make the bold prediction that I would make Champ 1 by the end of this challenge. But after seeing that Champ 1 was the top 3% of all 1v1 players, I changed that to Diamond 3. Now, why would I sell myself short like that? Why not just stick with a loftier goal and strive to reach it? Well, let's be realistic for a second. I am not top 3% in any game mode in Rocket League, so why would I pick the one that I find most annoying and I am the worst at? Additionally, I got placed in Diamond 2 Div 2. This is probably one of my highest 1v1 ranks ever, so even getting to Diamond 3 would be pushing to new heights for me, so I decided to stick with that going forward. I ended up playing 15 games in day 1, and I had 10 wins and 5 losses. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with how day 1 turned out. I'm sure that fed into my ego a little bit, but I'm sure nothing bad will come of that. Spoiler alert, something bad did come out of that literally the next day. Day 2 was nothing like day 1. I suffered close loss after close loss after close loss. And not only were all of these losses close, they could have been avoided in the first place entirely, but I lost so many goals to kickoffs this day. I didn't think it was going to end. I thought to myself, if this is how the rest of the challenge is going to go, I cannot do this anymore. Despite all of that, not only was I losing a lot of kickoffs, I was also putting up prime Tony Snell numbers. And for any international viewers that have no idea what I'm talking about, basically I put on prime Harry Maguire defense. So I had a lot to work on going into day 3. So day 3 started off a lot like day 2. The games were very streaky. I felt like I was playing really good, but then would immediately start playing terribly and then losing games. And my kickoff was still not where I wanted it to be. That was until I learned how to speed flip. I had always assumed that speed flipping was some really hard mechanic that would take a lot of time to master, but thanks to my chat, they showed me an easy way to do it that was at least consistent enough that I could get a partial speed flip, maybe not the most ideal speed flip ever, but it was still faster than what I was doing. And I immediately decided to incorporate it into my kickoffs. And I know you might be wondering to yourself, why implement a new kickoff strategy in the middle of a 100-game challenge if you're trying to get higher in rank? Well, for one, my kickoff is absolutely terrible as is, so why not change it up and see if I can get something better out of it? And also, even if it affects the amount of games I'm going to win, speed flipping is a very important mechanic that I need to learn to get better at the game no matter what, so why not do it now when I'm spending the most time I have in months playing Rocket League? Despite adopting an entirely new kickoff strategy today, I still end up going 7-8 on the day, and I've now played 45 games in total, with 24 wins and 21 losses. Day 4 is when I finally started to notice things were going my way. The speed flip kickoff wasn't perfect, obviously, but my kickoffs were getting a lot better. On top of that, I had some very impressive wins that day, and it didn't feel like those wins were because my opponent messed up, but rather because I outplayed them. In total, I played 10 games that day, and that brings my total games played up to 55, with 30 wins and 25 losses. So day 5 was kind of a weird day. I only played 4 games on day 5, and I went 1-3, which obviously is not good at all, but the reason I only played 4 games is because one of my viewers had challenged me to a $100 1v1, which if you want to see how that went, I'll link the video in the description. But basically the whole day I played terrible, nothing was going my way, and a lot of it was my fault. I was just playing very sloppy Rocket League. And to be honest, I think it was a lot of fatigue setting in. I still thought that what I was doing was very important to help me get better at the game, but at the same time, playing this many games of Rocket League live every single day of the week, it can be a little taxing. But at this point, we are over halfway done with 59 total games played at 31 wins and 28 losses. So I don't know if I have too much to say about day 6. I played a lot of games on day 6, and honestly, I thought I played really well. This is actually going to be the highest I ever got in the rankings at Diamond 2 Division 4. So spoiler alert, I don't end up making Diamond 3. But it felt like my kickoff was coming together really well, and I wasn't giving up too many ridiculous goals. Like I said, not much to talk about on this day, just some really good Rocket League. I ended up playing 19 matches, I had 11 wins and 8 losses. That brings our total games played to 78 games, and in those 78 games, I have 42 wins and 36 losses. So day 7 ended up being the final day of this challenge actually. I decided I was going to play all 22 games today and just see how much better I got, if I got better at all. And I don't normally play 22 straight games of Rocket League, so this ended up being very taxing for me. And going into the last 10 games, I was getting very close to finishing the 100 games at 50 wins and 50 losses, and I just could not even fathom doing that. Like, if that had happened to me, I probably would have had to give up YouTube and just never play Rocket League again. And you know what? I tried my hardest to go 50 and 50 because I had 4 wins and 6 losses in my last 10 games. And even those 4 wins, I mean, it just felt like I was making mistakes left and right, and I was just fighting for my life out there. But finally, after the 100th game, I had 53 wins and 47 losses. I finished in Diamond 2 Division 3. So I played 100 games of 1v1s to go up 1 division. I can already see the jokes now. But honestly, I don't think the record and the final rank tells the true story of what happened here. I got to work on 2 very important concepts here that are paramount to getting past champ. The first one being kickoffs. I honestly have never worked on a kickoff strategy before this video, before I streamed all these 1v1 games. But let me tell you, the stuff I learned about kickoffs in this challenge has helped me in every single game mode I play. So now when I'm playing 2v2s or 3v3s, and my teammates tell me that they want the kickoff to go to the right, I'm able to get the ball to them off kickoff way more often than I was before. And it wasn't necessarily all because of the speed flip. Getting to the ball first doesn't always mean you're going to win the kickoff. Something that I found I was doing is that I was actually flipping into the kickoff too late. So not only did I work on getting to the ball faster, I also worked on flipping into the center of the ball at the correct time that would allow me to win the kickoff more often. And I'm not going to show every game I played in this video obviously, but as the video went on and I got better with my speed flip and got better with my kickoff, surprise surprise, I wasn't getting kickoff goals scored on me all the time. I think that this actually helped me out a ton. And I don't know if I would have even won 50 games if it wasn't for this kickoff change. And the other thing that I learned that I think is very important for a lot of people to understand revolves around defense. I don't know if I've talked about this in a video, but if there's one thing that really bothers me about how you play defense in Champ is that nobody ever leaves the ground. You just kind of sit there and you wait to see what your opponent's going to do with the ball in the air. Well, in 2v2s and 3v3s, that can be okay because you have multiple people in goal potentially, and it's easier to save shots. But in 1v1s, you cannot sit in the goal and wait for them to do their flip reset or their double tap. You're just not going to get to the ball in time. And honestly, even if you don't hit the ball and you at least just go up for it before it's in front of your net, you can maybe rush them into making a critical mistake so that they don't score on you. And the amount of times in 2v2s and 3v3s I see people just sitting in goal waiting for someone else to go for the ball just baffles me. But also I was doing it too, so I can't really blame them. And I think it's a really hard thing to overcome mentally, especially at the rank I'm at, because you don't feel super comfortable going up for a lot of those contested shots when your opponent has clear possession of the ball in the air. And even towards the end of the challenge, I was still finding myself doing it and getting scored on because of it. But I think between these two things, I can safely say that this is actually a really good idea to do, especially if you don't play 1v1s that often. So yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, See you next time.